Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is currently Tuesday night. It's 8:30 where I am, but probably about 6:30 for the rest of you, Mountain Time. We're in week 3. This is our second session of the week, and we are going to do our demo today. We already did the discussion yesterday, and we actually even kind of briefly touched upon the assessment, but we can even go over that just quickly. And we have a fun project for this week. So let us get started. So, like I said, the agenda today is our assignment, demo, and the assessment tips, essentially, we're going over. For assignment number 3, I'll go over the instructions in just a minute, but here is essentially the instructions kind of broken down, all right? So we're going to choose and research a designer that you are interested in. We have a list of designers that we are actually going to be choosing from. So you'll pick one that is interesting to you. And my recommendation is to actually kind of look at the bunch of them and find one of the artists that either their work speaks to you or there are some effects in it maybe that maybe are interest you, maybe kind of a challenge that you might want to try out. I always find it's just much more, the research just goes much more smoothly when you're looking at something that you really actually want to learn about. So you will be picking those designer and the designer, and when you are looking at their style, we'll actually go over again how to extract the information. You're going to be looking at color, shapes, lines, fonts, the other different design elements, if it has texture, if it has patterning, that kind of information. And then you're going to either set up an InDesign or an Illustrator document, however, whichever one you would like. That's whatever you are more comfortable with. And you're going to be setting it up with an 11 by 17 inch document. And on page 1, you are going to put together a mood board, which I briefly explained yesterday, and we'll put together one today. The mood board is essentially kind of like a visual brainstorming kind of thing. We're going to have a bunch of images of your chosen designer, some examples of some text, not text, type, excuse me, examples of some swatches. And so when you kind of get a look at that mood board, you get a sense of what that artist, what their style was like. So again, images, colors, fonts, designer's name. Page 2, so you're going to have multiple pages in this document, whether it's your Illustrator or your InDesign document. That is going to be the first draft of your poster. Next week, we are going to be making revisions, so that'll be your final draft. And I'm going to show you where to get the file. You're going to have a zipped folder to download, and in it is going to be 2 Microsoft Word documents. One is going to be the list of the designers, and then the other one is the provided text. So similar to what we did with Sky Studios last week, where you had Sky Studios, 20% off all retail, yada, yada, yada. This text is actually going to be advertising an exhibit of sorts. Make sure that when you are designing, I mean, you can use your creativity, pick images, pick an appropriate font, any effects that you think are appropriate. While you're laying everything out, make sure to apply those principles, the contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. And then on page 3, you're actually going to put all the references that you have for any images that you used, any information that you were extracting to try to get an idea for that particular style. It says here, Word document, Illustrator, or InDesign. For those of you that maybe used Word last week, yes, for the self-critique, I had to think about that for a second, where we were in the mod. When you used Word and then imported it into InDesign, you can do that if you'd like. For those of you that decided to forego that step and just type out your assessment in your Illustrator document right there, that's fine too. So just you're going to have in one file, you're going to have the first page is going to be your mood board. Second one is going to be your poster. Third page is going to be your references. And then when all of that's done, you're going to export it as a PDF, and that's what you're going to submit to me so I can see everything all together. So like I had mentioned before, we kind of did this when we were doing the poster last week. We're looking at the style. Okay, we are going to look at all of those different examples. You look at point, line, shape, color, texture, type. How does your designer use these things? Does the designer use them? You know, if you're using a flat style, you know, the Swiss International kind of look, you're probably not going to find a lot of texture. What kind of typography are they using? Are they using serifs? Are they using sans serifs? Are they using really decorative things? Are they using something that's kind of standard? Do they use lots of shapes? And what kind of shapes are they? Are they organic? Are they curvilinear? Are they really more geometric and kind of straight and mathematical? So take a look at all of those different things and try to determine what your designer uses there. And then in addition, because it all comes right back around to that crap principle conglomeration, contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. How are, are they using a lot of contrast? Is it more monochromatic? Do they use their contrast in their type? Do they use their contrast in their color? Do they use their contrast in sizing? Their repetition, is it all the same thing, or do they have a lot of variety? Ooh, goodness. Do they, for alignment, do they prefer to keep everything centered? Do they like to make something asymmetrical? Do they have things balanced, but maybe it's neither one of those things? Maybe you have one element on the bottom left, another one on the top right. So it's not really asymmetrical, but it still has kind of a grounding on both sides, so it doesn't feel like it's off balance. And proximity, how do they lay out their information? When you are doing this as well, make sure to take your notes, especially since these are going to be new designers that you maybe haven't looked at yet. Sketch things out, whether it is by hand or in one of the graphic programs that you're working with. Find all these components and then use Illustrator to convert things to vector if you need to. Download items if you need to. I've actually already pulled together some images for tonight's demo myself. Sometimes I like to kind of do my demos really raw and have you guys actually see my design process as I'm pulling items. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do tonight, so I made sure to kind of do it ahead of time so that I wasn't wasting a lot of your time. And then, as you're actually putting things together, again, maybe you created something, maybe you downloaded something, modify those items as you need to. I definitely am going to be modifying some of the things that I downloaded tonight, so make sure they're appropriate for the style that you're working with. And before we get to our secret question for today, I'm going to make sure that I actually have covered everything quickly because I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything from here. Okay. I will be going over these right before I do the demo, but I just wanted to make sure. 1, 2, 3. And we had Heather actually come in a few minutes ago as well. I'm sorry, Heather, I didn't say hi as soon as you came in. I just, I was kind of on a roll there. So, but I do want to make sure that I say hi. And I think that we're all good to go there. So, for our question of the, Heather says she has no voice anyways. Oh, you lost the video? Let's see.
Nope, I got it back. I got it back.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amber.
All right. Sorry.
That's okay, not a problem. I would rather someone tell me things right away so that I don't end up talking for 20 minutes and think that the screen's there. So we have for our secret question today, what kind of hair does the ocean have? This is my boss at the screen print shop. He's a big dork like me, and he has a joke of the day calendar, so he tells these to to us. And the answer for this was wavy. So I thought that was kind of funny, which again, I'm a big dork. I have 3 kids. They love these jokes, so I kind of use it with my questions too. So, okay, moving along, we have our assessment here. So we're actually going to come back to that, and we're going to do our demo first. So I'm going to close on here and go back to the assignment. Okay. And actually, you know what? I am going to change screens before I do anything else because my InDesign. No T-Rex, Amber. I did that specifically because I knew that you would probably were going to be watching the other lectures. I purposely changed that up. Okay, let's see. And I only did that joke last mod. It's not even like that was a repeat. Okay, where's my share? Where's my share? Here we go. New share. Going on to my other screen. Okay. Come on. All right. So can you guys see InDesign now over there? I just want to make sure that my screen shared appropriately. Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we're going to pretend that you guys didn't just see this, and we're going to go new document. We need an 11 by 17 this week. Okay. We're going to have, and actually before we do anything else, we're going to change this to inches. Make sure those dimensions are right, because that can be a huge, huge problem. And like I mentioned, we're going to need 3 pages. We need, the first page is the mood board, the second page is the poster, and the third page is the references. So I'm just going to start here with 3 pages. I'm not going to do facing pages just because I kind of want them separate for you guys to understand what you're looking at here. Okay, so we're going to have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my instructions just like I do for all my assignments, and I'm going to copy our file naming convention and put in my name. Whoops, caps lock was on. And now I have my document all set up. So now we're going to go right back to our instructions real quick. Okay. Right here we have, we are talking about, or we're putting together the advertisement based on a style, very similar to like we did with Sky Studios. So we have part 1 is our mood board and our poster. Next week is part 2. You're going to download this particular folder right here. Okay, and for those of you on Windows, you're going to extract the information. Those of you on Macs, I believe you unzip them. Oh, and I already did this. We'll replace the files anyways. You know what? No, I think I have one of them open. There we go. So you're going to actually end up with a folder that says Assignment 3 Information. And when you open the folder, you're going to have 2 files. Make sure that you have 2 files. I had a mod, I think it was like 2 mods ago, I had maybe 3 students which randomly did not have one of the files for some reason, and I don't really know why. I had to submit a ticket to try to get that fixed. And I was sent screenshots and everything, so I know that they weren't messing with me. So you're going to have this first one, designer choices. This is going to give you your designer list. So you're going to pick one of these. These are the artists that you're going to look into their work and see which one, like I said, which ones speak to you. And then your second one here, assignment text, is this one right here. This is similar to last week that it said Sky Studios on February 17th, 2017. 20% off all retail, yada, yada, yada. This is the text copy that you need to make sure you include on your poster. So going back to our assignment instructions, after conducting research on your designer, whichever one you have decided to go on to research, create an 11 by 17 mood board. Remember, 11 inches wide, 17 inches tall, width times height. And we are, like I said, going to be doing your poster as well. That's the second page, also in 11 by 17, and then just leave your references for that as well. The instructions here say to create a Word document. You don't necessarily have to. If that is your cup of tea, feel free. But if you would like to just use it in, excuse me, if you would like to just create your reference list on your third page in Illustrator or InDesign, that is fine too, whatever you would like to do. And then saving it as the file name convention that we just saw, and sending it to me as or uploading it as a multi-page PDF. So your mood board, we have a couple of examples right here. And let me zoom out. Or, you know, no, I don't know why that's not, I don't like that. There we go. And actually this one is done 17 wide by 11 tall, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. So, but this is just, it gives you an idea of how it was put together. They have one piece here, we have another piece here, another piece here of April Greenman, and we have an example of type with her name. Make sure to include her or his name, whichever the designer is, on your mood board. And then we have a couple of examples of some of the colors from some of April's work, or Greenman's work. I'm not on a first name basis with them. And then this was their this was their first draft, but I don't know that on the benchmark for week 4, I don't think it changed at all. So this was probably their final draft. And you can see they kind of have like these pixelated or dotted kind of background or effect actually on the image in the background, whereas this young girl sitting in a museum. So obviously it's a design exhibit, so this particular person decided to go with a museum theme. We have the list of the names here, and we have the information of the location and the date down at the bottom here. They've chosen some pastel kind of colors, which there are some of those in here. We have some pinks, we have some cyan, we definitely have plenty of yellows and golds, and they decided to kind of do it that way. We have some blocks of color, some geometric blocks of color, some layering. So kind of, you know, an example of that particular designer. I don't remember what this next benchmark is. Who was it, Saul Bass or Lester Beale? Let's see. Lester Beale. So again, actually, they also did the opposite here, where they have it longer than they have tall. In Lester Beale, we have the name up here in an example of a type. We have some primary color kind of swatches, and actually it looks like they did 2 different sections of swatches. We have the stripes up here and the blocks down on the bottom. And 1, 2, actually, I don't know that, I think this is actually a photograph actually of Lester Beale, but we have 1, 2, 3 examples of their imagery, and then an example of their poster design for week 3. They use very similar sans serif fonts. He used a lot of stripes, so we have the stripes in the background. He actually also liked to use diagonals and arrows, which is not really depicted here, which is fine because that's not in all of them. He also very often actually split up his canvases either in half or in thirds. So you have like this big field of color on the bottom, and then the top is a little different. So it's almost like a horizon line. And you can see that this particular student used some appropriate color choices there. So just some examples. It is a great way to explore your own creative choices within some parameters, and that's exactly what this industry is about. You very infrequently are going to have a job where someone says, there you go, run with it. You very often are going to have some kind of parameters to work within, and sometimes they'll suck and sometimes they'll be all right, but that's one of the challenges of this particular position. So we have, and actually, I don't know, let me see over here, hold on 1 second. Let's see. I don't know, yeah, because I am not in the correct view. There we go. All right, for some reason, I accidentally got out of that view. Okay, so anyways, We've gone over the benchmarks, we've gone over the instructions, we have your rubric right here, so if you're unclear about anything that you need to make sure you include, it's all right there in black and white, and feel free to ask me questions, obviously. So we are, I just got a message saying my internet is unstable, so if for some reason I lose you guys, well, obviously you won't be able to let me know because my internet connection will be gone, but I will be right back on in you know, as soon as I can. And if for some reason I lose it entirely, I'll put up a message on from my phone or something. So we're gonna get going here. I decided that I am going to do David Carson this mod. And I have what is set up to be 1, 2, and actually I need a third one. There we go. Here is my third page. That is giving me trouble. Come on. Separate, please. All right, fine. You want to be difficult? We'll do that. Fine. Copy you. Put you on that one. There we go. Because our software sometimes likes to be difficult. Okay, and I'm just going to save this again real quick. Nope, actually, it's not assignment 1. It is assignment 3, isn't it? It is assignment 3. There we go. So now I've already kind of picked some images, obviously, as you can see here, because like I said, I wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting any time. I did not actually, however, pull up any David Carson images. So I'm going to do that right now. And just pull up. Let's take a look and see what I would like to grab. So try to, you know, kind of look around, see what kind of speaks to you. You know what, I've always really liked this one. And as you're grabbing images, I just hit Control there to open this up in a separate tab. I believe you can do that with Command as well. I'm actually going to also copy my website up here. I don't need it in APA format, I don't think. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure I don't need that in APA. And I'll format my references later. I'm just going to make sure that I have them in here. There we go. And this was actually one more thing I meant to do before I started, but time kind of got away from me. So I'm going to do maybe 3 images. You could do 4 or 5, however many you think is appropriate on your mood board that reflects what you're trying to do. And here we go. I'm going to go with this one. Or maybe not. There we go. Save. And make sure I get that link as well. Like I said, I'll format that later. And I think I'll probably just do one more because you guys understand how to Google search, I am sure. I am sure. I always see. Let's go with this one, I think. Let's see. There we go. Save. All right, and one more link. Okay, and before I import any of these in, I am actually going to double check our assignment instructions because I can never remember. Yeah, no, it doesn't say anything about APA format because this, I can never remember because different assignments require different research requirements. So they require different requirements. And I just don't want to make sure that I'm asking anything extra of you guys that is not required, that is not mandatory. Okay, so I am going to Control D or Command D, and I'm going to import those 3 images, or I'm going to place those 3 images that I just grabbed 1, 2, and 3. And I am going to arrange these in some kind of manner. I want them to obviously look, there we go, somewhat aesthetic. You can arrange them however you'd like. If you'd like them to kind of extend all the way to the edge, that's fine. If you'd like them to overlap, that's fine. It is your choice how you would like to do that. Actually, you know what? Nope, I'm going to put that right back up here. I'm just going to shrink it down a bit. And I'm going to get rid of my margins here because I don't like the way that they're interfering. Okay, now I know that I installed a couple fonts a few minutes ago. Right before class, I was on my favorite website, or my favorite font site, dafont.com. I grabbed a couple. I think Devin was watching me. And I'll see if I can remember what they were, because totally don't. So now we have, you know, a distressed look over here. Whoops, I did that by accident. We have a distressed look over here. We have some basic sans serif fonts over here. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one up here, but I'm going to maybe make it bold. There we go. Oh gosh, no, no, no. That's too bold. There we go, that's better. So let's see if I can remember what the font was that I just installed. I can't remember. Let's see. Tisa, Lemonade, and Loud and Clear. Let's see what I got. If they actually did install, because that would be funny. Tisa, there we go. That's probably even a little bit too much, but Tisa, Loud and Clear. Yeah, that one's a little bit better, I think. One I don't remember what the other one was. What was the other one? Lemonade. Okay, let's see. And Lemonade. And I think we did have an announcement that went up either last week or the first week that had some information on installing new fonts. So if anyone is a little confused about that, you can take a look there. Okay. And I think I actually want to, what do I want to do? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so it kind of matches the top one. I want them all to be about the same width. There we go. I am using the horizontal scaling tool up here that adjusts the width. And if you were to use the vertical scaling, that actually adjusts the height. So that would be adjusting, like, you can see how it's making it taller. But I don't want to do that right now. And I think I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm going to change the leading slightly. I said slightly. That was a little bit more extreme than I was looking for. There we go. It just was a little bit, they were a little bit too far apart for my liking. All right, so now I need some swatches. I have some type samples. I have some images. I need some swatches. I'm going to put them in the bottom left-hand corner here. And I'm just going to do some plain old rectangle swatches. You can do them however you like. That is completely up to you. And I'm going to just put a couple in here. And one of the things I actually really like about this tool right here, the color theme tool, is I can do this, use the color theme tool, and click on it, and it comes up with a whole bunch of colors that are currently in your palette. And then you can add them to your swatches. So now you can see where it says colorful theme. After I have clicked my little swatch key over here, and now it gives me a whole bunch of them. And I may have indicated that when we were doing the, there we go, the first demo. I can't remember. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Well, I try to remember too. There we go. So I've got a nice combination. It kind of looks like something that might have been in the menu for the for the coffee shop from last week's discussion. There There we go. I am going to make these all even using my distribute tool up here. Let me see, which one do I want? There we go. And I don't want it to, do I want it to fill the space? Yeah, I'll fill the space. And I'm actually going to send this to the back too. Yeah, I suppose so. And that was Control Shift left bracket or Command Shift left bracket to send that to the back. Okay. So now essentially my mood board is done. I have my image samples, I have my swatches, I have my type samples. There's something I don't quite like about these, and I'm not really sure what it is. It might just be how I've arranged them. Let's see, maybe. Oh, dear Lord, no, 5, not 50. There we go, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit better. It's not really what I was looking for, but I don't need to spend a ton of time on the mood board as long as that stuff is in there. So before I move on to the poster itself, did any of you guys have any questions since I got the 4 of you in here tonight? Excuse me. All right, we got 1 no. Devin's good. Kevin's good. Maybe Heather and Amber as well, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to hope, or I'm going to assume if I haven't heard from Amber and Heather, it's because they're good too. But if I am incorrect, just let me know, ladies. So I have already taken the liberty of copying in my information from that Word document. Remember, we have the 2 Word documents. We have the one with the designer names and then the one with the text. So this is the one that I have currently copied and made a text box and already put in here. Okay, and this is the one that I will make sure that I create all of this text in here. I've also already grabbed some images. I've decided that for discovering design in America, a graphic design odyssey, I'm going to go with an American theme. I very often go with more of an artistic theme, and I use maybe artist tools, paint splatters, kind of that kind of thing. But at this time, I think I'm going with an American theme, and I actually think I am eventually going to clip out this image from this background because I don't want Lady Liberty here on this blue sky for my project, but that would take a bit too long to clip out, so I will do that on my own time and then fix that for my final draft that I will show you guys. We have, let me make my text a little bit bigger here so I can see it. And actually my tools are all messed up because I used them in the demo on my other screen yesterday. There we go. All right. So I'm going to see about, let me see. I'm actually going to make her a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to maybe use her as a frame on the right-hand side here. Actually, maybe I'll actually extend her all the way up. See what we got there. There we go. We can cut some of her off, and we still get the gist. And I have actually downloaded this one here as well. I'm going to bring over my Illustrator window real quick, and I'll show you guys what I did. Here we go. This was one of the images that I downloaded. Had a whole bunch of American flags. I like to find things that maybe have different variations in them. And sometimes you can't always find it, but sometimes you can, so that if one layout doesn't really work, then I can go with something else. So all I did was delete the ones that I didn't want and then resaved it with a new name. My grunge thing here too, it was the same thing. I have all of these different paint splatters that all started out like this. And I just ungrouped them all and kind of changed a few to some colors, some different colors, so that I have a variety of items to use over here, because I was not sure exactly how I wanted to do this. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Okay, so I'm actually going to, because I'm doing a grunge look, I have also downloaded this background right here just to kind of give some texture, and have not quite kind of figured out what I want to do with it just yet. I'm going to go, let's take a look in the effects, because I want to give this image a kind of a layer. I want to make it tactile, almost. Let's see, go for transparency. There we go. And I think I want to keep it this size, but I'm going to feather one of the sides there, one of the edges. There we go. And oh, and I did the wrong one, but that's okay. Just flip it like that. There we go. And I think I'm actually going to try a different effect here too. Oh, that's actually not bad. I never really know what kind of effect I want to use until I get in there and I start playing around with it. Ooh, I don't like that. That looks more like lightning. That's not really where I'm going for. So yeah, I think I'll stick with that one, with the overlay one. And I was just doing that right in the effects panel. Now, same thing in here. I'm going to put my American flag up here. And I liked this one because it had kind of like a jagged look to it, as opposed to nice and smooth. And even if I were to put this on high quality, if I were to view it in the high quality display, it still kind of has that kind of look to it. So let's see, because I don't know that I want to. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Yeah, I might leave it like that. I might put it back in normal. I'm not sure yet. So we'll just kind of go with that for now, because I need to make sure I get my message in here. Okay, we have a couple of comments here. Let's see. Oh, Devin was talking about the blending modes. He says that he never really knows either because he doesn't know how the image is going to interact. And yes, absolutely, it sometimes comes up with cool and unexpected effects. Like Barbara says, gotta love those happy accidents. And Amber says, you did that and it almost looked like smoke from the lantern thing. Oh yeah, kind of. I hadn't even put that together. But see, this is why I love, going back and forth with people, because they see things that I didn't see. So yeah, that's actually kind of neat. And all I was doing it for was for the texture. So all right, so let's see what else we got here. We have, I'm going to break up the names from the rest of the text, because it's kind of related information. You want to try to keep that together when you're thinking about proximity. Okay, whoops, there we go. Move those over here. And same thing, I'm going to get rid of that in here. Let's see, I think I'm probably going to put the Discovering Design in America portion near the flag somehow. That kind of seems like it would make sense. And let's see, what did I use for different fonts? I'm actually going to scroll back up here to my mood board. I'm going to copy and paste that text block right in here so that I don't forget what I've got here. And I think I'm going to make this white and see where I go from there. That one's Loud and Clear, and then this one is Lemonade. I don't know. Let's take a look. I don't know what that's going to do. 65. We'll see, and that might even be a little bit too. I thought maybe the background would be dark enough, but it's kind of difficult to read. So maybe I actually want to go darker. Let's go. I'm going to actually sample the blue that came in here. Oh, no, no, no. I know what I want to do. I'm going to use this guy. There. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to isolate my streaks over here. Oh, and there we go. My internet is unstable again. Friggin' Comcast. Oh, and I accidentally put a stroke on that. That's not what I wanted. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. See, yeah, see now this I do actually want to blend this out more because it's like too prominent now. Let's go 65. And that's even a little bit, that's not quite what I want either. I'm gonna go with my blue one up here instead and see if that one maybe makes the letters a little bit more prominent. Let's see. Let's see. Or maybe I can actually even use both. Maybe that's what I need to do. Push this over just a little bit, create a little bit of contrast. And I'm actually going to split, I'm going to actually split these two up. Because one is kind of the main heading. Oh, don't do this, there we go. One is the main heading and one's kind of like the subheading. So that's what we'll do. I shrink my text box up there a little bit just so that it doesn't get in the way. There we go. Make that a little, whoop, what just happened there? There we go. Decided to disappear on me. There we go. I'm gonna kind of smush it in here a little bit. I would probably even try to work with the little curve here. If I had a little bit more time, I'm not going to waste your time tonight. And you guys, I can show you the finished product next week, because I like to do that, kind of show you guys, you know, where the before and after. Oh, you know what? I'm still on the high quality display. That's probably my problem. There we go. Okay, come on. I'm trying to put a little colon in here, and it's not, so it must have something to do with that font. So let's see where else I can find that particular, there we go. Sometimes that'll do that to you. The fonts don't have all the characters. And let's see. Yeah, I totally am going to want to make this go along with the swatches, so that'll be something I do next week, I think. All right, so let's see what else we can do here. Let's see what else we can do. You know what, actually, I'm not sure I even want to hide that American flag. I think I've changed my mind. Let's see about putting all this stuff up top here. Maybe that'll work better. I don't know. I change my mind so much while I'm working. I know that none of you guys are shy, but if there's anything here that I'm doing too fast, let me know. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually, you know what, Devin, that's a great suggestion. He's saying to delete the pull off the flag. I actually think I'm gonna pull it off altogether and see what that'll do. I might actually even, I'm going to rotate it maybe a little bit, see if that'll help. Yeah, I think that actually fills the space up better. Thank you. That was a good idea. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm actually I'm gonna move that in a little bit now. There we go. So we've got some bigger text up here. I want to make sure that I include, I'm going to put my names right in here, kind of front and center in just a second. And probably, let's see, do I have a blue swatch? Not really. Not really at all. So I'm actually going to open Illustrator real quick here. I'm going to make this guy that blue color, I think. There we go. And I'm going to use probably a combination of those two. I'm going to just save it quick, and then I'm going to have to replace these swatches. I don't know if you guys saw the image there. It kind of went all wonky because I did something to the file that is currently linked. So now you can see this is all technically missing. So I'm going to relink that image, which is off of my desktop, I believe. Please tell me I put it there. Which one is it called? Grunge. Grunge. There we go. It's going to be in here. There it is. And now it's going to all fix it. It's going to tell Illustrator, hey, it's over there. There it is. And now it's back to that quality. Okay. So I'm going to isolate my two blue swatches here. Am I still on the, there we go. I think I was still on the high quality display there. Actually double check one more time. Yep, there we go, typical. There we go. That'll save a lot of frustration. Let's open that bad boy up. And I'm going to take some of this other blue one right here, and I'm going to put it right on top, kind of use it to make it a little bit, make that splotch a little bit bigger. Let's see. I group those two together so that I don't have to worry about them coming apart on me. And so now I do like the way that that's looking, but here we go. I'll move this out of the way for a second so I can get a better idea. I am going to, there we go, make that white so that I can't see that edge. Normally I would actually change the actual bounding box, but it's a little bit more difficult to do when you have multiple pieces there. It can be tricky. So let's see. I'm going to put the date and the location actually in that area right there. And I'm going to make it white so that it'll stand out because the navy is just never going to work. How did you get it to cut off on the edge? The paint splatters or the other images? Excuse me. Because I actually did two different things in here depending on what I had going on. Both? Yep, sure, no problem, guys. Not a problem. That's why I'm here. All right, let me just put this up here so I don't forget. So I did these two different ways. We have, let me see, I know I did, there we go. So for example, our American flag right here, the bounding box is right there. So if you can see, I have the selection tool here, and I'm adjusting that. And you can tell, you can see how the American flag itself isn't changing. Oh, sorry. Oh, goodness. I don't know what just happened there. But I can grab it with the selection tool. Or if I actually grab the direct selection tool, which is also, I can actually just double click in there as well. That moves what's inside the bounding box, what's inside that container. Okay. But you see how my American flag here is at a different angle. It's because that's angled. But if I go back to the selection tool, that box is not. That is still at a 90-degree angle here. For these guys, if I were to do that, I'll show you. If I were to do that, because these two things are grouped together, I'm going to end up actually messing up the images that are inside. Oh, maybe I wouldn't. Oh, yes, it did. So you can see there's the red splotches right here. I don't believe they were there a minute ago. See, I got one of them, but you see when I moved the edge here, more of them showed up because it kind of shifts a little bit, which is why I just did this little white thing right on top of it. You absolutely can clip them, just like we were doing a minute ago. You just end up spending a little bit more time to do it because we now have 1 and two boxes because I was kind of using two different effects on top of each other. Okay, and actually as we're doing this, I need to actually fix it because I don't know that, well, maybe I do want that red. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that kind of looks neat. So you know what? I'm going to leave it for now. See, again, love those happy accidents. All right, I'm actually going to put this, I think this was loud and clear, I think was the text that I was using. And actually, this loud and clear is actually very much like impact. So I'm actually going to use that just for this one because this text is a little bit smaller and I would rather not have the names kind of get muddled. So I'm going to actually, I want the names to be emphasized instead of featuring work by. I want to actually, they need to be a little bit separate because featuring work by is not one of the names. So let's do this. We're going to make them a little bit bigger. I think I will maybe make that italic, and this particular font I know for a fact does not have an italic option. So that is my workaround. I changed the shearing up here to just 10 degrees and it typically works fine. And let's see, I'm actually gonna make this, let me see if I can, I don't think it's gonna show up well on white, so I am instead, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna move it over a couple nudges and down a couple nudges. And I'm going to make this that navy color that we've got going on in there. Yes, I know it's a vector graphic, no blah, blah, blah. That's one of those lovely messages that always comes up. Yes, I know. I know. Come on, there we go. Now I'm going to actually paste my white text right on top of it, and I've got a little bit of a shadow there. Actually, I'm going to make this even a little bit bigger. I'm actually going to give it the same color navy. I'm going to actually do a little stroke on it and make it a little thicker so that my shadow is a little bit more prominent. I might even want to play around with that a little bit later, but now you can see the names a little bit better. And this, I'm going to actually try that other font and see. I probably won't do that. I'll probably stick with the loud and clear one. Loud and clear. Oh, man. Or, you know, I could maybe not do that because since it was a free font, not all the characters are in it. So now I gotta play. See, this is where we end up with, we run into problems. Okay, let's go. Because I need it bigger than that. Let's go 65. Well, it's gonna be too big, but let's go 45. That's better. Oh, yes, yeah, font editor could fix that stuff. That's awesome. That's totally awesome. Because it absolutely like just runs into these problems. You end up with it taking so much more time than you want it to for no really good reason, you know, and that's just aggravating. All right, so I definitely would be playing around with this a little bit. I think I probably will put the date here and maybe the museum here. I also need to make sure that I include the website as well. But if I keep going, I'm going to way run over time. So I am going to stop with the demo here. And yeah, the graffiti fonts, I'm guessing that the designers probably, you know, have just so much, whoops, the effects probably take so much time to create that they're just like, nope, forget it. You don't get numbers. So that is essentially what you're going to be doing for your assignment. When you are done, go up to File, Adobe PDF Presets, PDF, and you save it as a PDF. Or, yes, I do want to save it. Thank you very much. Make sure that that says all. If you happen to be an illustrator like you were doing this past week, File. Actually, I think you can export as a PDF, but I think you also, no, actually you cannot. You have to go File, Save As PDF. So that is how you do it in InDesign. Oh, for goodness sake, yes, I know. The font's obviously giving me some trouble. So we have those, or that assignment for, oh, wait a minute, there we go. That assignment for this week, your assessment, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm just going to go over very briefly because we are almost out of time, and I had mentioned at least some of it yesterday. So this is the social media ads that you're going to be working with. A couple of things you need to make sure you remember. We're trying to catch the client or the prospective client, their attention as fast as possible. So essentially engaging emotion first. You're devoting more space to the images, to the text, because like I mentioned yesterday, the images are going to catch that attention much faster than the text is. You're going to try to make sure that you, I think I said that right, the images are going to catch the attention more than the text. Maybe I didn't say it right, so I wanted to make sure I repeated myself. So that's where you're going to be looking on, not Vexels, Pexels. You can look on those other photo sites that I was showing you. Try to find some images that are going to work for you. We have the fitness club, like I had mentioned yesterday. Your message is going to be find your superpower. Join today for $5, limited time only. Your budget travel website is the second one. You don't need to include this name, fitness club, budget travel website, grocery delivery service. It's essentially your message that you're really paying attention to. So for the travel website, dream with your eyes wide open is your message. And for the grocery delivery service, delicious delivered daily. Start your free trial today. So remember, try to find some images that has maybe a logical space for you to put that text. Your punctuation here, you don't need your semicolon here. You don't need your semicolon here. You can use periods. You can use exclamation points, however you see fit here. Try to think of how you might be grouping your offers together, or consider hierarchy. Is there some text that should be a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger? You have to pull an image. Yes, it would definitely, if you want to create something, that's totally fine as well, Amber. If you have something that you have shot yourself, be my guest. But because these are social media images, that's what's going to get your audience's attention, is that imagery. So that's where this really comes into play. I do just want to make sure that if you have any issues, that there are some, I believe in the media, I believe some of the playlist is working with the Artboards. And yes, Amber, yes, you absolutely can use your own stuff. Absolutely. That is not a requirement for you to download something. If you have your own, 100% feel comfortable to use it. Meetings and videos. This is something that always gives people a little bit of trouble. So week 3 is working with the Artboards. Where is it? And I know I saw it not too long ago. Here we go. I could have sworn that there was one in here on working with the Artboards, but I know for a fact I have some information, so I will get that put up in the announcements in the event that you have trouble, because what we end up needing for this particular one is one PDF with 3 different artboards. So it's going to be a multi-page PDF, a PDF with 3 pages. And each one of those banner ads is going to be 1 page. So essentially it is going to look like, let me show you back to the assessment. We have our benchmarks here. We have, and actually this doesn't even show you the 3 of them, does it? It just has the 1. Yeah, it just has the 1. But essentially, I will be able to scroll down or go to the next page and see the second ad, and then the 3rd ad. So Oh, good, Amber. I very, very much look forward to seeing those pictures then. So we have, you know, this benchmark right here. They decided to use their message on the right-hand side. They added some color here. They also did some lines to kind of indicate some movement of the kickboxer here. The student over here decided to use some lighting effects and chose a fairly appropriate image of the person pointing in the area. So remember that this particular project is being done in Photoshop. And I think that was it. Let me just make sure that I don't have anything in here. Oh, actually, well, I could actually just show you the tips for the slideshow. I always end up going over them, but I mean, essentially for your tips for your assessment, you are combining text and imagery. Remember, you've got the photographs with the text. This is a completely different way of looking at the principles because a lot of times with these ads, because of the fact that you're trying to grab the attention quickly, you're looking at it slightly differently because you need to keep it simple. Okay, so you may end up finding that you use a much more asymmetrical layout than you normally would have. Okay, so you're really going to be paying a lot more attention to contrast and hierarchy than you probably normally would. Make sure you pick your image wisely, and I know I've already said this a couple of times. Try to find an image that is appropriate, but also is going to have a space that's logical for you to put that text, your message. And also choose your font wisely. Don't get real crazy. You can absolutely use something decorative if it will be readable very quickly, okay? Because that, you know, the more decorative something is, the harder it's going to be able to be read, and your audience is just right out the door. So you want to make sure that it is going to be easy to be read very, very quickly, like I said. And if you do need some ideas, you know where I'm going to be on Thursday afternoon. I'll be in my multi-session. Feel free to stop in and we can troubleshoot. Or if you have an idea, you want to shoot me a message, feel free to do that as well. Okay, Thursday, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's where I am. It's the same link that you guys used to get in here today. And, you know, absolutely you can come in and talk. I obviously make my contacts, my phone calls, my emails, and everything to you guys on Thursdays. And I always have it open while I'm doing that, so you can stop in. And that is it for today. Only 8 minutes over. Do any of you guys have any questions? Yeah, Devin, I've always really liked that one with the lighting too, and I think mainly because I just typically don't do that. It's not something that comes up into my mind when I'm thinking of things to do. So whenever there's something that's very different from what I would do, it's always intriguing. Okay, Heather says she doesn't have any questions. Anyone else have any questions about what to do? No, maybe. Devin, Amber say they're good. You're very welcome, Devin. This is what I'm here for. And I'm thinking, oh, and Kevin says he's good too. Perfect. Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming on in today. And thank you for those who are watching the recording for tuning in. And maybe I'll speak to some of you this week, maybe not. If, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a ring or shoot me a message. And good luck with all the work this week. Have a good one.